What's up, everybody? The San Francisco Shock just took care of business and scored the 3-1 victory over the Dallas Fuel. Baby Bay has once again been unlocked. I think all that Millie Rock has been helping this game a little bit. He's definitely up there. We'll see those guys again tomorrow, though, when they face off against the Boston Uprising, which should be a very interesting match considering the recent coaching changes. But on to our final match of the night. We got the LA Gladiators taking on the Philadelphia Fusion. This is going to be a really good one. Now, you guys heard me mention at the top of the show that both these teams played last night and they both lost. So I guarantee you that neither one of these teams wants to go 0-2 on the week. And if you look at their last matchup, which was back in stage 2, the Philadelphia Fusion won 3-1 over the LA Gladiators. But this is a new stage, a new meta, and both of these teams have completely new lineups. So this match, again, it's going to be very competitive and could go either way. So Blizzard Arena, please make some noise for our final match of the night. And let's get straight into this one with the crew at the desk.
Thank you so much, Malik. It's the last match of the night. I'm your host, Golden Boy, along with Crumbs and Reinforce. Now, before the break, I made a joke about how San Francisco won and Golden State are going to win. Oh, man, I shouldn't have done that. So, you know, because it seems like scores 104, 102, kind of dicey. And things are going to get dicey here at the Blizzard Arena because we got a good matchup. We got the Fusion and the Gladiators. Now, the Gladiators, they've looked phenomenal. And Reinforce, you actually said that early last week that this team, the Gladiators, were the second best team in the league, in your opinion. But
my opinion.
In your opinion. Philly Fusion, though, I think they're supposed to be one of the greats in this meta, though. And especially after that battle for LA, I think Gladiators are going to look to try and see if they can bounce back. There's a lot going on between these two teams.
There is a lot going on between these two teams, but really when you look at it, Philadelphia, who have they beaten this stage? They've beaten Florida Mayhem, Shanghai Dragons, Boston Uprising. I mean, it hasn't been that impressive. So sure, the Gladiators lost yesterday to the Valiant, but meanwhile, Philadelphia Fusion, they've lost to Dallas. You know, they haven't really been on par either. So you could make a case that it's going to be really even, but is it though? We'll have to see.
I mean, what's important here is the playoff implications, because at 5 and 7, remember, it's only the top 6 that make it in. So this is a really important match when it comes to determining who is going to be making it into these overall playoff standings. A loss here, the map differential it's too big for these guys to not give it their all.
And then the stage 4 standings, which everyone's paying attention to because there's a lot of shakeups that are happening here, Reinforced.
Yeah, and if Philadelphia beats the Gladiators today, then it's even more shook up in my opinion, because then we potentially have 5 teams battling out for 2 spots at the top there, next to Valiant and then Excelsior. So really intriguing matchup coming up between these two teams.
Yeah, and man, I mean, you really couldn't have asked for a better way to really just close out, you know, this season, right? Just hotly contested battles going into the stage playoffs, and incredible playoffs that are going to be taking place relatively soon as well. So we've seen a lot more, I guess, variation, I should say, from Philadelphia Reinforced. I want to get your thoughts on some of the players that they've been fielding as of late.
Yeah, so they've been playing a lot more Sado and Hotbar, right? They're a bit more passive in the front line. Not so much Fraggy. We know Fraggy, he likes to dive in, you know, get into the back line. Didn't really work out for them, so they put in Sado and Hotbar so far. A bit more passive, and the Philadelphia Fusion have changed up their playstyle a little bit. Bit slower, I'd like to say, overall. But, you know, again, is it really working out for them so far? Given they've only beaten the bottom teams in the league at this stage, it's going to be interesting to see Philadelphia moving forward. Will they feel more fraggy for some more aggression, worked in the past, or more of the Sado and Hotba?
Well, who they've been fielding lately that's been really surprising is Shadowburn, because before we had seen him be replaced by EQO temporarily for quite some time, and we thought, okay, EQO surely must be the mainstay, but he had an injury and he came in. And so now, after the loss against the Dallas Fuel, which I felt like Philly underestimated them, they needed some more composure. So you bring in Shadowburn, who is one of the most composed players you could ask for, to hopefully bring this team back, because this is a team that's quite emotional. They have these very high highs, and sometimes the lows go down a little bit low. So I wanted to compare the Shadowburn and EQO stats specifically on the Brigitte. And if you take a look at what's going on here, well, obviously EQO is playing the much more aggressive Brigitte, whereas Shadowburn is playing a little bit more passively. But what does this do to the team, though, is I think going to be determined today, because this should be the one match that Philly has that is against a playoff opponent that they must not lose to.
Needless to say, I think that Shadowburn is a great Hanzo and Pharah player overall. But EQO, I mean, he has been so instrumental for this team. Even he does a lot. EQO does a lot of shot calling, right? So you bring in Shadowburn, who is from a quiet player. So this wrist injury could be costly for the Philadelphia Fusion, sadly.
Yeah, and that's very unfortunate, you know, for the Fusion there. And you know, when you think about unfortunate as well, you have to talk about the Gladiators coming off of a loss last night against the Valiant.
I thought you were going to go with another basketball.
That was no, not today. That was just that was tough. That was a tough loss for the Gladiators because everyone had the Gladiators winning that one, and the Valiant were able to surprise them.
I actually don't think that loss was that tough because if you look at it from the Gladiators' perspective, you plan well, you go through your game plan, but you just cannot foresee the players of the DPS of the Valiant to go on Super Saiyan performances. You really had no way of preparing to that, and I think that threw them off guard. A loss here, I think, would matter way more to the Gladiators here, so I think that when they play Brigitte is where it's really interesting because Suin said that he felt like the Gladiators were very easy to read when Bishu was in is when they play Brigitte. Hydration is the other one, but look at that. More specifically, Void. If Void is in, no Brigitte is being played. So you have a good idea as to what the Gladiators are going to do, and that's what Valiant used to read them. Maybe the Gladiators' flexibility is not as complex as we thought.
Potentially, right? And I think for the Fusion, they need to kind of take notes from what the Valiant were able to do and deconstruct the Gladiators to try and get this very important win. But it's also going to come down to the matchups as well, Reinforce. Who are the players that you are looking for to perform here?
Well, I think it's an easy pick, in my opinion. I mean, it is going to be Surefour versus Carpe, right? It's going to be an insane Widowmaker duel, because we've seen a lot of Widowmaker this stage still, and these are two of the best Widowmaker players in the league. You can see that Carpe, he has the better Widowmaker duel ratio, but as we know, Surefour was on fire during stage 3. Not so much stage 4 so far, but they have played a lot of Surefour. He has been popping off, and so going into this matchup, going to be really interesting to see how Philadelphia Fusion, if they play Solo and Oppa, how they facilitate Carpe and make space for him. And then you have the Gladiators with Fisher, you know, leading the charge. How are they going to set up Surefour in this Widowmaker duel? Very interesting to see.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm pumped for this matchup. I think we should bring out the teams to the stage. So let's go ahead and make it happen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, the Philadelphia Fusion. Now the Philly Fusion, 21-14 overall, 3-2. Stage 4. The question in everyone's mind is, can Philly keep this stage 4 momentum going? Because they certainly need to at this point.
So I think that momentum will have to be off the back of Shadowburn, specifically the Pharah. We saw yesterday what Agilities was doing to Fisher. The amount of pressure that was put on the main tank of the Gladiators made the star player almost negligible in times where he would normally shine. So I think that Philadelphia must shut down Fisher and just put all the eggs into that basket. Once that happens, Gladiators have a much tougher time, but it's up to the Philadelphia Fusion if they will have the composure today to pull off that strategy.
It's a very different team, I'd like to say, argue, right? When they were at their peak in stage 2, when they made the stage playoffs, you know, it was pure aggression, and we saw such good things from them. And then they started losing their ways, you know, they came up short with a few losses, and we talk a lot about the learning how to lose on the desk. And this was a team that never really learned how to lose, I'd like to feel. They're always struggling, a bit inconsistent. And we can see more of that in stage 4, arguably, with, you know, taking a loss to the Dallas Fuel. This is a team that really needs to step up as well. We thought they were on top, you know, and they were going to make the season playoffs. They need to step up just a notch to make the season playoffs.
The talent's there. The talent's there without a doubt.
For sure.
But now it's do or die. You have to make it happen here. But now it's time to bring out their opponents. Welcome to the stage, the Los Angeles Gladiators. And of course, the Gladiators come out here with a little bit of that home field advantage because we're here at the Blizzard Arena in LA. This team, 20-15 overall, 4-1 in stage 4, taking that loss at the Battle of LA. And here's the thing, they fell to 7th last night after losing to the Valiant. Can this squad keep the shields up against their challengers?
Yeah, yes, I believe they can, Golden Boy, because the strategy that the Gladiators had, again, it wasn't bad. They had a really close game. It was mostly the Valiant performing to a level that is beyond what we had expected. So I think that if they look at it in that lens, they should be able to take a step back, not tilt, and just understand, okay, this strategy should probably work against teams that don't go Super Saiyan on this. Let's just play our same game and see where it goes.
Yeah, and I'd agree with that. I think you can put it short and lightly that what we take away from that game is that Valiant are better than we thought.
Yeah.
And so Gladiators, they're still a great team. That was one of the best Overwatch matches we've seen in a long time, in my opinion. You know, just flexing and swapping.
Very
So
true,
still,
very true.
this is a fantastic team. And we've seen so many different lineups from this team on every map. You know, they had their small niches. So it's going to be interesting to see on, for example, Lee Jung, if we're going to see Hydration's Pharah again. I love to see Hydration's Pharah. So good. So this matchup is still going to be top-notch.
Boyd is looking into my soul.
Indeed, indeed. Well, I'm excited for this game, folks. It's time to get the last matchup of the day rolling, and let's send it over to your casters. You have Uber and Mr. X.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We saved the best for last around here, Matt. And I think between these two, it's kind of hard to know sort of where we come out on the other side, because both these teams have been eating L's last couple of days.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone has an idea what to expect from this match with the way that the Philadelphia Fusion and the Gladiators have come out and looked in their last two. I mean, the Gladiators yesterday against the Valiant, it's a shock to a lot of people. They end up losing that match. Don't even take a
Including
map.
many of us. I think you were the only one who predicted the Valiant to win
I
that
was.
game. And I dare say you did it just for theatrical purposes.
No,
but-
no. It was a 50-50 game. Yes, yesterday, I believe today is another one of those 50-50 toss-up games, right? I mean, you know, Surefour is playing like he did yesterday, and Carpe's on. This is one that could go a lot like how yesterday's match went. So
We saw that Widow duel percentage, I think, the statistics that came up at the start of the game. And Carpe does have sort of double the efficiency in that regard. So the question remains, do we see that head-to-head? Do we see someone like Surefour try and challenge down Carpe when he can, or try and play around him, which is another approach we've seen to that Widow map.
I also think, what do you get from Shadowburn? He needs to show up today, replacing EQO in the lineup. EQO, obviously, I believe he's injured or just sitting out a few games.
Yeah, I think it's I believe it was a risk-related thing.
Yeah.
I say that unironically because I know that we hear about this a lot, but the rigors, Matt, of being a professional gamer are not to be scoffed at, as I scoff. But, you know, we do hope that he's sort of feeling better and getting that sorted out, because I know a lot of Philly fans would like to see him back in the roster. But again, when you've got Shadowburn sitting on your bench, you definitely have an embarrassment of riches.
So it'll be the Gladiators on defense here. Hydration on Junkrat, Surefour on Widow. Not too surprising. Somebody who I thought had a rough day yesterday was Big Goose. Got to keep him alive in that Mercy roll.
He got plucked.
Yeah, he did not do a nice job of staying alive. We'll see if he can do a little bit of better job of that today. Second most final blows is Mercy.
Look at that difference. That is astonishing.
Yeah, I mean, Neptuno basically has double.
You'll love to see it. We know when you see Valkyrie pop, you know he's going to get aggressive.
All right, Shadowburn playing Sombra here. The beginning of Blizzard World. It's basically a dive instead of Genji. You just have Sombra in play.
You're a very mobile composition with this particular setup. A lot of spam in these chokes, so there's a good chance that Shadowburn just kind of gets revealed. He could have got revealed there by Void and the micro rockets, but he managed to slip through the net. Like one of them Secret Agent movies where there's all the lasers and they're trying to contort their bodies through them. Sato's taking down Hydration already. What a huge pick-off there. The fact that he almost gets away with that scot-free is quite crazy, but they're both resurrected up. And Surefour's already used his grappling hook here. Carpe just trying to peek unpredictably around the corner and not just walk at him and finds the frag.
Yeah, it's Carpe and Shadowburn in the backline. You put all that pressure on a Surefour. I think obviously he expects Carpe. You have no idea what Shadowburn is going to play as. Sombra. See Hotba coming in here with Sato coming in, just trying to push some of these players back as this dive looking really strong here for the Fusion early. They've already gotten one tick. They're going to back out to the point. They feel like they've done enough damage to deter the Gladiators from coming to challenge this again, and they try and get there the last second. Void uses the self-destruct.
No, it does
to
very
not even
little.
challenge.
Pulse Bomb is going to get knocked out of it as well. The mechs had health, but the animation for the mech ejecting had already begun, so the mech can be healed while you're being ejected from it. It's just like a spectator thing, I think. But yeah, he was knocked out of that one. And that's a bit of a waste to avoid perhaps communication not on a premium. Hydration switched over towards that Brigitte here. No more Junkrat.
We'll see what Philadelphia decides to do. Do they stay with this? Do they opt to go different direction in terms of their comp? Obviously, you don't want to play into the Brigitte with some of these dive heroes. Although, we haven't really seen a lot of teams experiment what Brigitte's like when she's hacked.
Well, probably not great. I suppose she's got decent range still, to be honest with you. Shadowburn goes down to Surefour, does pop that EMP, and the follow-up around it hasn't been too bad at all. Hydration's down to Hotbar self-destruct, and it's a transcendence here for Sato just to really make sure he gets the most value out of this. Not only displacing the members of Los Angeles, but also getting some damage. And he might get the finish on Fisher, and he does. We saw what happened yesterday, with the Valiant versus the Gladiators. The Valiant put so much emphasis and pressure on Fisher especially, playing Doomfist into him, playing on these compositions that put him in awkward spots. And it paid off for them, it's safe to say.
I mean, Fissure is so good. I think he's up there. I think you make a strong argument, league MVP. And you see what happens when teams try and focus him down. The Gladiators, it gives him a really rough time just staying in some of these games. As Sato, with some help from Shadowburn, they're able to get rid of Void. That'll be Shaz falling as well, as Carpe's just kind of running around here in the back. Nobody to make him pay for it.
That rally, though, does get some value. A lot of the Gladiators mid-fight are able to get some armor added on. Okay, Hotbar just drops one in there. That's huge. She has a big goose down. And now it looks like the Fusion might be able to just to regroup and push forward. Yeah, Void's missing. There's no healing whatsoever left for the Gladiators. Hydration can give that repair pack on an irregular cooldown, but there it is. Fusion are looking unbridled in their aggression today.
And I think this is where you can see Philly at their best. You know, when they are playing with this level of aggression. They take Shaz out. Really nice movement there from Hotba as he comes right around the corner with some help from Sato. And you have to remember too, Mitch, I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, you know, Shadowburn's in the lineup, EQO's not in, whatnot. But, you know, when Philadelphia's playing with their, you know, quote-unquote B team, right? We've heard a lot about that, you know, how good they are in scrimming. Who are half of the members of that team? It was Sato, Hotba, and Shadowburn, right? So these guys have played together for a very long time now.
That's a great point. You know, you've got such a flexible roster now with so many players on it. That's the EMP now. That's a defensive EMP, which is really interesting. But you can see the snap back on towards Fissure there. There wasn't much he could do about it. He couldn't escape. Once he committed to the fight, well, he couldn't jump himself out. He died with Primal Rage there. He's probably not too upset about that, as he'd probably prefer to use that later on in the fight. Sato, though, will go for his. And the Fusion, it's a war of attrition right now, and Hydration being that first casualty will allow the Fusion to keep pressuring on.
And it's interesting they run the Sombra here and they've committed to it because remember, we actually casted a game, I believe it was Gladiators Shock, the first game of the last stage, where the Shock were able to win because they gave a lot of trouble to Fissure with Sombra when they were just hacking him over and over and over again. Remember, he was tweeted out, like, please stop hacking me.
Please stop hacking, yeah. I mean, in another world, you play a Junkrat here. I mean, we've seen Carpe play Tracer, which is obviously fairly rare with how much Widowmaker we've seen him play in the past, but I would say Shadowburn probably not a Tracer aficionado on this particular team. That would be Carpe's job with this lineup.
Yeah, and Fissure goes in, uses Primal Rage, he gets hacked right away. So you see the hacks taking a little bit of an effect here as Neptuno will res Carpe after he gets picked off.
He's trying to get the Shadowburn there. It looks like Void gave up trying to chase him down, and Boombox gives a brief Orb of Harmony over towards him. Another EMP here, trying to chase down Shaz here as well, but it was a little bit too early. Shaz popped out of his Transcendence after EMP proc, so he still came out with all his shielding.
But you get Hydration, though. I mean, that is a big kill to get on the card, as Void will use the Self-Destruct just to get a mech back. That's two big picks coming in, though, from Surefour. That's probably going to stop things for Philadelphia.
I feel like you need to do more to try and pressure Surefour out here. He's got a lot of room sitting right at the back of the cul-de-sac, and yes, Carpe switches to Widowmaker and realizes now that Surefour is operating as a pivot point for the Gladiators, and they're protecting him well. You can see this guy has got the, you know, he rules the roost here.
So now some changes come through
It's a cute
for
spot.
Philadelphia. So they'll play Ryan, Zarya, and Brigitte. Interesting because, well, you have now the Gladiators making the change, right? But where do they charge this Zarya up from? There's really going to be a lot of damage coming down from either the Widowmakers or there's some close range bubbles coming in when the Ryans come to attack.
Extra pressure on that barrier of Sato's there. Surefour is still chiming in from that side. Very much like Flatter, we saw him play recently up against the Dragons. He was flanking a lot of that Widowmaker. Hydration wants to go forward here. He realizes for a moment that he was the front line and takes a step and allows Fissure to get ahead of him. A little burst of momentum from the Gladiators halts the Fusion once more.
There's still a ton of time left here for the Philadelphia Fusion. The rally will go off here for the Gladiators. Both support ults available for Philadelphia in this one. I think maybe you're able to use one, get Chaz to use Transcendence, or well, even if you end up forcing both out with like a grab from Void, you're still in a pretty good spot because you come back, very close to your own rally and your own grab. That's going to be the grab coming down from Void.
And you can see Void's trying to get up in behind that shield, and it looks like he's managed to do so. Transcendence doesn't really save the Fusion here, and the ultimate ultimately, see what I did there, is committed to no avail. They have enough damage to back it up, and it's not a great look for Philly.
No.
Committing that ult there.
I mean, they end up using both support ultimates there. You don't get Big Goose or Shaz to use either of theirs. You're not exactly close to your grab either.
How are they bursting down through that that Transcendence so well? Because the Gladiators don't kind of Hanzo here, you know, they had that extra, you know, burst damage in over the top, and yet they still killed 2 players through that.
I think it's the average energy of Void. So his average energy right now, obviously at 55% compared to Hoppa's 17. So they're getting a ton more done and damage out of their Zarya play right now.
One of these things, not like the other. No Shadow here, Sato doesn't connect that one either. One was Reinhardt shielded, one was a Zarya bubble, really. It was protecting Void. A lot of armor on the Gladiators here. That rally really started to pay off here. Hydration ready to use yet another one to keep them going, and the Gladiators really embodying the defensive style of their namesake here, Matt. Very hard to break through. Carpe's super out of position. And there's only 5 seconds left. I think the Fusion are done here.
I believe it's Void with another grab before you even see one come out from Hotba.
Boombox is going to sit and use Transcendent and Graviton as well. Doesn't feel great. There it is. LA Gladiators very, very, very solid towards the last stages of the map. Again, I really think Shorefall got them rolling on that Widowmaker. 9 final blows for him. Carpe only with 4 for the whole map, and he was playing Tracer.
And it's just, I think towards the end, you know, it's just how much charge they were giving Void. I mean, he finishes the first half with a 61% average energy to Hotba's 20%, and look at what that does to their grav charge times. Void is getting a grav every 1 minute and 2 seconds. Hotba took him 2 minutes and 28 seconds to get his. That's why you saw him double it up.
Way slower inside of the Philly Fusion. Here we can see sort of just how this went down, this previous fight here. Just want to see, yeah, here's the EMP. So Shaz still in Transcendence. Then he pops out of it a moment later. He's not affected by
like a second or two too early there from Shadowburn.
Yeah, I was curious exactly how that went down. So Hotba actually had a very good round before he switched to the Zarya. Yeah. Diva play was really solid. He actually has the most final blows on the Fusion right now, as we often see from Diva players, but 8, the nearest is 4. Shadowburn was 0 final blows from that whole round. We saw him playing more of a utility role in the Sombra and setting up with those EMPs. You know, and he got eliminations as a result. When he switched over, wasn't finding much at all.
It needs to be a bit better, though.
I mean, he's playing Brigitte after that as well. So essentially playing 2 support heroes. I mean, Sombra's more geared as a DPS now, but still, it's risky if you're playing against Brigitte and you're trying to, you know, you can't really get close to Sombra still.
Compared to what you get from EQO, though, like it can be, it needs to be at least in the ballpark, right?
I mean, I think Shadowburn's best heroes are probably the far end there.
Oh, without a doubt.
He's definitely, I don't necessarily think he's playing in his best role, living the best life, but Junkrat here for him should be promising. Shorefall. I don't think this is going to how the setup's going to be. I don't think Fisher's going to play Widowmaker, although I'm quite sure he'd be the best at Widowmaker if he played it. Fisher?
Maybe just trying to take a shot.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks for
taking a shot real quick. Seeing what they have. And then he'll dictate what they decide
Let me get some of them Widow endorphins for just a moment.
It's,
Tracer for Shorefall.
Yeah, they're going to play just a straight up dive into this. So this will be
about that.
This will be
staggered defenses for Philly.
Well, when have we really seen so? Whenever the Gladiators want to run Tracer and run Tracer for an extended period of time, they usually have Asher in the game, which you haven't seen really Asher. I feel like in a while now, but
we actually haven't. Yeah.
So
I think how much of him have we seen this stage, Matt? I'm going to go with.
I can't remember a game that we've casted or a game I've seen that Asher's been in.
We had him in the stage playoffs.
Yeah.
For like 1 map, which did not go well for the Gladiators. And that was Boston Uprising.
Well, I mean, Shorefall is a capable Tracer, right?
I mean, that was what he initially played. That was his initial sort of main.
And we've seen him in the past do really nice things.
Carpe played quite far forward just now, and he lost maybe about 5 to 10 seconds of actually having good Widow lines because he's busy sort of walking backwards and spraying with the Widow's Kiss. Very clever, though. We knew that Shorefall would be trying to wrap around. He didn't have any other reason to suspect that. Oh, just dive bombing. Oh, wow, that's a solid outplay. Transitioning from that pick to wrecking Big Goose there, that's quite something.
And let's see how the Gladiators play this. We've seen them get into these type of situations before, and then they get some support ults, and they end up like using them in bad ways, and they get really far behind in these fights. Big Goose with the Valkyrie, Shaz getting close to Trans. See how they decide to combo these. They're going to have to deal with Carpe all the way in the back. I mean,
they're contending with this Riptide here as well.
Yes.
I mean, this is a pretty early pull on the Riptide from Shadowburn.
More clock time, but yeah, still really early.
Would you rather not sort of give you the team fight? We can give you a man advantage so you can sort of snowball.
I feel like that's a waste of a tire. I mean, even though we've seen tires be less effective as a whole over the course of the late,
That was pretty self-evident.
Yeah. Still.
All right. Fisher tries to get to the point. He's actually trying to access Carpe, but he got halted back briefly by Sato. That looks like that'd be a headshot right there. Carpe now has to go 1v1 versus Shaw Fizzle. Shadowburn down to Shaz across the map. Although Void was desuited. Carpe sitting in the back corner here, and the Gladiators are all in that little corridor now. They've managed to make good progress. Shadowburn's brought back. Neptuno flew behind the Gladiators to return the Junkrat to the fray, and he's already paid that back with getting Shorefall.
It's such a fantastic movement there by Neptuno to even get in a position to get that res. Hydration, though, does take out Shadowburn.
And no Orisa right now for the Fusion map.
No, they've switched off of this, so Sato will come back as Winston, as Hotba's just trying to contest this for a little bit until his teammates can come back in. Carpe is still there. This will be a self-destruct that comes in from Void, trying to get around the corner.
Sato bubbles that. He just throws his barrier on top just to make sure that there's no chance of anyone getting picked up by it. But maybe Sato could have used that one getting aggressive on the point, because now they've just given it over essentially to the Gladiators. Keeping it contested, but only just, and the Fusion are forcing themselves to be sacrificial lambs just to stay in the fight.
And for a second there, I thought they may end up this side using the Transcendence and try and push in, because Boombox is playing so close to Sato up by the point that if he didn't use it and they didn't try and fight it, they were going to get staggered pretty significantly. As you see, that's exactly what happened. They do get a DMEC on the Void here. Most likely this will be a kill too.
Chaz is having an excellent game right now. He's got more final blows, for example, than Hydration. So, total of 5 for him. In all fairness, Hydration was playing Brigitte in that previous half. So. That's a big pick though. Big Goose being removed. And Fisher fancies to hang around a little bit longer here, but I think he'll have to give the payload up. Regardless, the Fusion probably won't defend that far forward for that long. The composition here outside of the Junkrat, they're not super great for holding the door. They sit back a little bit and allow Carpe to have some space and time taking shots.
And we've seen Philly do some of these comps in the past where they run really like a solo true tank with Sato playing Winston. They have Hotba play Brigitte in an off-tank third healer slot. Now we get a use of the Riptire from Shadowburn. This is a good use. That is a good use of the Riptire. Hotba able to contest the cart the entire time when the Valkyrie's up, so no progress made here by the Gladiators.
It's tough now. Riptire obviously such a powerful ability, but it's sort of been slowed down, and against Mercy compositions, you either want to kill the Mercy or kill 2 players, just to make sure that it can't be erased. Like, generally forcing a Riptire and having it traded out for 1 Resurrect is, I feel, as good.
I think they're, the Gladiators are probably debating that you probably want to switch off of this Genji, but you have Blade. Like, do you... I think you just need to use this Blade in the next fight to try and force out Transcendence.
You feel like you can back it up with your own Transcendence if you want to commit.
Or even just hold on to your own Transcendence.
I say they wait. If they get an early pick on Boombox or an early force on Trans. No, okay, so they're just going to force that one out here. Yeah, like clockwork, Boombox does. Do you see it? Shaz also uses his own Transcendency, so they do want to double down on this fight, even though Hydration didn't find anything with the Dragon Blade.
Yeah, but now you're going to give the Fusion an advantage because they're going to have a rally. They'll rally everybody up. They're going to get a ton of armor. They're going to come back right and fight this.
Well, Philly disengaged that fight pretty well. They don't lose any one of the Transcendence. You know, they sort of traded out 2 ults for 1. Their Transcendence for the Blade and Transcendence of the Gladiators. They rally up. They push forward. Again, this is great for them. They don't care about getting kills in this fight, but if they force the Gladiators back to the drawing board, they're happy enough.
So now Hydration, I think he'll probably switch. You're going to switch, you're going to switch this to Brigitte. So now you have found yourself behind in terms of rally, right? Because Hotba just got a use of his. You're going to find yourself behind Transcendence because, you know, Boombox used his, stayed alive, did a little bit more damage. And then, you know, Neptuno's going to get Valkyrie here rather quickly, so you're about even with that. So it's not really a great trade here for the Gladiators.
Sato might get punished here. You see Hotba quickly delivering that repair pack. Sato tried to go toe-to-toe with Shorefall, but Void followed up really nicely. So great peel by the Gladiators. Shadowburn's ball back into the fight. Shorefall's getting wrecked by Sato in the backline there as well. Sato was like a bulldog, mate. He wouldn't let go once he had a mouthful of him.
Sato gets Shaz as well, going all the way on this flank, and now he meets up with his teammates in the front. This is not looking good for the Gladiators.
7 seconds left here. Fusion starting to hold up fairly well, but Neptuno's gone down. Both Mercies are taken. Shadowburn's Riptire, though, there it is. Another 1 kill, but they'll take that one, especially in the absence of Big Gooses. Resurrect! No one around the payload, and the Philadelphia Fusion make it 1-0 here. Blizzard World starting strong.
A lot of good changes there from the Philadelphia Fusion. They made the adjustments at the right time. And Hotba has himself a good map number 1. 25 elims, 12 final blows, played a great off-tank in Brigitte.
Carpe coming back towards the end there as well. Philly looking good. The orange versus purple, map 2, right around the corner.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel. Intel Core i7 powers the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's fastest network ever. and by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
The man is a monster.
Carpe strikes in again. Striking down. Killing's also being removed. Carpe, what are you doing? This is unbelievable.
안녕하세요. 저는 필라델피아 퓨전에서 DPS를 맡고 있는 카르페라고 합니다. 제가 MVP를 받으려면 제가 하는 것도 중요하지만 저희 팀원들도 받쳐주고 그리고 그 속에서 잘 맞아 나가야 제가 MVP를 받을 수 있다고 생각합니다.
Oh, and there it is! The flank from Carpe, the triple that I killed.
제가 지금까지 해오면서 제일 힘들었던 점은 초반에 팀 합적으로 잘 안 맞아서 제 경기력 같은 것도 잘 못 보여주고 성적도 안 나왔을 때 그때 제일 힘들었던 것 같아요. 팀 성적도 안 나오면서 힘들었을 때 저희가 한 방법은 그냥 연습하는 것밖에 없었어요. 그래서 되게 다른 팀보다 되게 더 열심히 했다고 생각하고 그렇게 해서 지금 이렇게까지 하게 될 수 있었던 것 같아요.
This is it. Bailey have done it. It seems like all the hard work has paid off for them.
제가 위도우 메이커 연습하는 방법은 팀적으로 연습을 하고 그다음 개인적인 경쟁전을 통해서 연습을 하고 그다음에 이제 남은 시간들은 주로 아케이드 모드에서 위도우 1대1 모드로 해서 연습을 합니다.
Banny taken out by Carpe as well. This guy's on a tear already.
저에게 MVP의 의미는 제가 지금까지 다른 대회 해오면서 MVP 이런 자리도 받아본 적이 없어서 되게 새롭고 솔직히 저가 되게 더 열심히 하게 만들고 이제 좀 그 자리에 대해서 되게 탐도 많이 나고 그렇게 해서 더 열심히 하게 만드는 자리인 것 같아요.
Carpe just running game on these kids right now.
You got it, ladies and gentlemen. We are still, of course, on our search for our Overwatch League MVP for Season 1. And there are a lot of candidates. We throw these names around all the time. There's just a Reddit thread about someone complaining about us saying every player is the best. You're the best player. You. But let's look
you
at,
watching.
I mean, look, Carpe is definitely up there. I think he's in we say he's in the conversation. That's the way. I personally endorse this individual. I think I would, at this stage, vote for Carpe. But again, this is the kind of guy, you can see his stats here. League average, his numbers. I think the highlighted numbers are the ones that are significant or maybe like in the top percentile. This guy's a widow beast, man.
He's a beast on every hero he plays. I think it's really, for me, it comes down to like Carpe, Jonak, Fissure, and it's like, you know, Jonak just for the overall consistent body of work, right? You know, how good he's been from start to finish. Carpe, if he can get this team to the playoffs, I think you can make a strong argument that you know, he is the main catalyst why.
We are watching a lot of these guys. We're watching like your Fissures, your Carpes of the world because, again, a team that sort of flops midway through stage 4, it's tough to kind of justify that thing, but we do need your help. So vote for your MVP with hashtag OWLMVP. That's what we want to see, is what we want to hear. It's even like a little thing that comes up next to it. That's great. And we check them out. We're always interested. We saw the numbers recently. Obviously, you know,
some Dragons players in the mix.
There are some Dragon players in the top 5. Yeah, that's because of our very passionate fan base, especially over from the Chinese region. This is also why, you know, you are helping us sort of vote for them. We also get a say, much to many people's chagrin, I'm sure, but deal with it. Bishu's in, let's go.
Bishu will come in for Void. You get that original you know, tank duo for the Gladiators. I think Fissure, obviously a great MVP candidate. I know that, I mean, the guy joins this team. They're 4-6 after stage 1.
He comes forth,
turns it around.
Where'd the analysts go? They slacking off?
Oh, they go. They're going to place their votes. Team Mobile MVP LeBron James, man. 51 points and a loss.
Down there watching that
Tough
Warriors game.
Tough out there, yeah. Golden Boy's bad influence on those analysts.
The empty desk, I gotta wonder, you know. I gotta wonder. All right.
Or maybe he fake passed out like the other day.
It's all for the theatrical stuff, isn't it? You know, I feel.
I love having Alex do that.
You know?
It's fun. It's like every time I see Golden Boy, I'm like, oh, I miss you. And then like he's like,
5
oh,
minutes
I was here
later,
he's like, I was here like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, oh, I don't remember.
Clearly leaves a bigger impression on you, Matt. So it will be the Philadelphia Fusion attacking here on Horizon Lunar Colony. The Gladiators with them, you know, fairly standard by now. Anti-dive composition, we're going to call it that, with Shore 4 on the Widowmaker. So maybe no real surprises here. So Tracer, Sombra.
But so the only thing that, obviously different map, a little bit of a different lineup in here for the Gladiators, but having this look allows the Fusion to play exactly what just worked for them on Blizzard World. Like, this is the exact comp that Philly ran, different map, different type of setup, but still, you saw they were comfortable on this type of roles, right? With Carpe playing Tracer and Shadowburn playing the Sombra and trying to go around for the flanks and get to the point, so
the difficulty is now when you're running a Tracer and Sombra attack on this map, you can generally get those two heroes in position on the point and sort of force a response from the Gladiators, which normally involves them sending one or more players back to defend. Now, in the past, it was just a Tracer you'd send there, and the enemy would just send one player back.
Carpe would be like one of the only players who takes this in a serious flanking manner.
I don't know if you even like hear the doors so easily, like on his high ground with
that was a sick shot.
So nice. That is really hard to hit, and that's a headshot, by the way. Mercy's hitbox is small, especially when she's at that angle. So ideally, right, we want to put Carpe and Shadowburn on the point, force players back for the Gladiators. Ideally, get Carpe and Shadowburn in a 2v1, blow that player up, and then give the Fusion the opening. But Matt, it looks like the Fusion is sort of getting caught up halfway through. These picks have been big.
I mean, they haven't been able to really even get Shadowburn or Carpe to the point to force that type of action you're talking about. Philly does have some... so they're on the hunt here. They're all the way in the back. So this would be ideal if they've killed a player already, but now they're going to try and go in, right? So Shadowburn could go here, right? Then he could actually translocate out, and then Carpe could jump right in. It'll be a Riptire and Infrasight used here. The Riptire takes out Sato, so you lose your main tank.
Oh, man. I mean, you can see, look how much damage that Shadowburn took so quickly there. And Carpe just arrived at the point to sort of back him up and give them that 2v1, but He was so low he had to translocate out. Sado going down early, of course, to the Riptire. Wasn't an optimal way to begin that fight, but he's been brought back. And now the Fusion are pretty well set up on the point. So eventually Shortboy has to turn his attention there.
But if you start this fight, Philadelphia, on the point, you can get them to come in and move in and commit. You're going to have EMP here. They're going to be in this close area where you think Shadowburn could get a good use of it. It's exactly what you want. You have Transcendence as well. Just got to get Boombox close. That'll be Neptuno falling in the hands of Shortboy. He's like stuck behind, out in the open there.
Shortboy said some big shots here. Those picks on Mercy, like you cannot overstate the impact of that kind of play. Oh, Boombox. Okay, they got him. Bishu to chase it up there. Yeah, I mean, removing a Mercy first is obviously the dream situation in many of these fights, but she's one of the hardest heroes to hit, especially given her mobility and her unpredictability and going left and right with that Guardian Angel. Oh, Carpe.
They know that Carpe's back here.
And see, there's a little present left for him by that door.
I mean, his presence does give Philly some space, though, to move on up.
Yeah, I mean, now the Gladiators had to abandon the high ground. They can't risk spreading themselves any thinner than they already are, which is what the Fusion want. They want to clump them up. See, there it is. Oh, big. That's oh, we love it, Hotba. That's a two-man, but the EMP was a perfect way to start the fight off, and somehow the Gladiators are staying in this one. Shaz is brought back to life. Sado drops in over the top, and Boombox has returned. It's going to be a Primal Rage. You better believe Sado needs that little bit of extra health. Shortboy and Neptuno again. How many times has he killed this Mercy? This is astonishing.
Oh, and you're going to use Transcendence here. I guess, 30 seconds left. You kind of have to, but...
Oh, man, the Gladiators look so good on this map.
They're crushing them.
Do you know, so you see the Transcendence there. Shortboy doesn't give a damn. He gets the pick on the mini hotbar there as he popped out of the Diva. And the Fusion are in deep trouble.
So Hydration moves away from Junkrat, goes to Brigitte here towards the end. This one shot from Surefour here could end it all.
It's a great spam there. You see that, like, just spam across the choke, reveal Shadowburn as he tries to get in under the cover of stealth. Any damage, of course, will remove his covering. I mean, Surefour there in a great position now to follow up. Carpe's pressuring him. The Transcendence is delivered to him there. Shaz making sure the Widowmaker gets the healing they need. And now Hotbuzz on his own. Got no backup here at all.
The supports for the Gladiators are split off, though, as Big Goose uses Valkyrie to get across. Shaz does fall. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep Sado alive through this.
They're trickling one by one. Look, they're split across both sides of the point there. Hotbar was very much on his own against the Gladiators. That is so clean. Shortboy 9 final blows, 0 deaths, 31% of his team's damage.
He popped off. You know, sometimes, look, I mean, if you're not going to try and play, I mean, you can't even really play a Widow into that because they have the Orisa shield there the entire time.
Yeah, you're always like at a disadvantage in that.
That's where I know Shadowburn plays a fantastic Genji. It's like what he's known for. Like, at least try and maybe go Genji, try and hunt him down, but...
I think it's a problem.
They didn't have that Brigitte till like the final fight, though.
Oh, that shot is quite
crazy
as well. I guess he's just trying to aim into the massive bodies there. He did have an infra sight at that time. So the Fusion. We know what they were trying to do. The game plan is kind of self-evident, Matt. But it seems as if Carpe and Shadowburn couldn't quite get the ducks in a row, and they weren't able to really work together as effectively as they would have liked. Sado gets picked off a heck of a lot of times. He's got 6 deaths, highest in the server. Only 3 deaths in general across the entirety of the Gladiators.
Yeah, no, I know the 2 on the Shaz, I believe, were resurrected as well. So it's not a good first half for the Philadelphia Fusion. This should be a map win for the Gladiators, and all they have to do is get to 44% here on point A. They'd be able to take it.
Defensively, the Gladiators look really polished, right? Really sort of hard to break through. And we've seen that over the last couple of weeks as well. Maybe the only area they've let themselves down in the past is sometimes that offense. Yesterday, I mean, there's a different story, the Battle of LA. They were picked apart by, in my opinion, a Soon who put far more pressure on Shortboy than Carpe has so far. Carpe has 1 final blow on this map. We just, we cast the curse. We thought as an MVP contender.
It's like, playing Tracer, you just like got stuck in no man's land, like out by the Gladiator spawn. I mean, he's 1 a limb, 1 final blow, 1 death. So it's not like he like fed like crazy, right? So.
Yeah, Sado had his difficulty there, but they're playing against like an anti-dive comp. They're playing Junkrat, into Junkrat Orisa, should I say, which is awfully difficult.
You know what I would say obviously Bishu and Void, it gives you a great luxury to have both of these great off tanks. But as you see Carpe just nail Hydration with a headshot. You look really good with Bishu in. You start winning a ton of games with Bishu in. It's like I would just continue.
Oh, Pup, that's so cocky
It's a big
from
pick.
him.
It's a big pick. I would continue to switch these two players, but I would kind of try and solidify one before potentially the playoffs.
Carpe has to have known that he was standing out in the open there, and that short ball couldn't have been far away. I wonder about the decision making. Now, I know he was waiting, of course, for Shaz to reveal himself. Shaz playing Tracer, by the way. Yeah, I've seen everything.
Flex support.
Yeah, I mean,
Plays
we've seen him
Tracer
play
and Genji.
before. Yeah, he plays a ton of Genji on rank. So the Gladiators come in with that single support and a lot of, I mean, they've kind of got a bit of everything, don't they? They've got a lot of flanking DPS.
Well, we've seen teams run what the Gladiators do, except Hydration would play Genji and run like the solo support and then run the Widowmaker on offense.
Oh, this is Tracer's paradise. Look at all the people with 40 HP or less, Matt. Chaz wants a piece of that. You found Carpe first. Second, Boombox is down. Get your man, it can do everything.
Flex support, by the way.
Oh, yeah, okay. Shaz out there just blowing people up with the pistols, and this could be already over for the Fusion. They're so close. Chaz, Swale, show some emotion. No? Okay, Gladiators make it one apiece here. And I'll tell you what, that Tracer stint, spicy.
Yeah, a dominant second map in favor of the Gladiators. Map 1, very close down to the wire. Map 2 does not deliver the same result. The Gladiators absolutely dominant start to finish.
And they had the setup they wanted. It's actually a fairly greedy team composition with, with a Sombra Tracer and Widowmaker, but they made it work. They were effective. They did their job. And we're going to go into halftime with a tight series. We'll see you guys after our halftime break.
You've watched the matches, analyzed the hype, and now you help decide the first ever Overwatch League MVP. Cast your vote now for League MVP on Twitter with hashtag OWLMVP and your player's battle tag.
It's been a defensive battle so far. After the Fusion got the win on Blizzard World, the Gladiators responded with a full hold on Horizon Lunar Colony to make it 1-1 at the break. Welcome back, everyone, to the halftime as we break down our first two games here. I mean, you know, again, couldn't have asked for a better matchup to close us out here. We knew that this matchup has the potential. Philadelphia Fusion able to start off strong early on. I think everyone kind of looked at this and felt like the Gladiators, you know, had that upper hand. They were in a better position. But the Fusion are they're contending because we know that the talent on that team is capable of doing so.
I wouldn't say that they necessarily had the upper hand. We knew that the Gladiators was stable. We knew what to expect out of them. We didn't know what to think about the Philadelphia Fusion with Shadowburn in the lineup. Obviously, they're a fantastic player, but the team did not look very composed before until now. They finally look a lot better.
Yeah, like a referee, just calling it right down the middle, you know?
Yes. That's why they seat me here.
Yeah, unless you're a Cavs fan, then you don't believe that. So now reinforce as we go
into about the Lombardi trophy.
As we go into the highlights here for games 1 and 2. What were some of your major takeaways from both of these teams?
I found it pretty interesting how Philadelphia Fusion were playing a lot more Sombra. Shadowburn was taking it on both here and on Horizon Lunar Colony. And, you know, I question it a bit. Is this something they're forcing because Shadowburn doesn't have the hero pool necessary? Why is this a new meta, right? We're going to see a lot more Tracer, Sombra. I question it a lot, and I find it very interesting how they got away with the win here, because generally speaking, I think that the Gladiators are a fantastic Blizzard World team. I think they went 5-0 on this map when it was released. I mean, fantastic stats overall, but still, Philadelphia Fusion, they get away with the win, much due to Carpe, but also Sherfur was turning up on the Widowmaker, and as we went into Horizon Lunar Colony later, we saw that Sherfur just turn it on the defense as well.
They actually had not lost here. If you think about yesterday, it was a tie on Blizzard World, so Philadelphia hands the Gladiators the first loss of a 7-0 map.
And it's surprising, right? Because this Philadelphia Fusion squad, I wasn't necessarily rating them that high going into this matchup. I don't think this stage we've necessarily seen Philadelphia Fusion perform as well as they have done in the past. And you have Shadowburn now in your team. And I think it was a lot more noticeable here on Horizon Lunar Colony when they were trying to play Shadowburn on the Sombra and it just wasn't working.
It's such a sick strategy what the Gladiators were doing, though, because you have the Shaz flex support that can go off to the Tracer. We've seen it before, and on Horizon, it's so effective for you to go with these blitz compositions. Just go straight in. You try to do as much damage as you can, and the Orisa is never going to make it back on time. So as long as you get a kill trade, you're going to be in the benefit here. So the offensive side, really well done by Los Angeles Gladiators.
One thing, though, that you had mentioned about Philadelphia Reinforced was that, you know, look, because Shadowburn doesn't have the hero pool, they're kind of doing these different things, and you're questioning, like, oh, could this be, you know, the meta, or could this be like where we see things start to go in the future? Do you all, or do you believe that it could just be that they're working with what they have, rather than them trying to reinvent something here? They're just trying to make it work.
I mean, maybe they're onto something, right? But from the way I see it, from very, you know, surface level, I'd say that, you know, Sombra in general gets shut down by Brigitte, and, you know, the armor is very good against the EMP and whatever. You survive longer and you get your abilities back on the cooldown. So normally I wouldn't see Sombra working out, but in this scenario it did. So I'm really surprised to see the Sombra and the music come on.
Yeah, I think that was our cue to go ahead and end it. So there you have it. There's the halftime. We were getting pretty much played out of here. So that'll do it for us. Now, earlier in the week, we actually had a chance to sit down with the most handsome main tank in the league, the one and only Fisher from the Gladiators, as he walked us through what he thinks are the two most important settings in Overwatch to improve your gameplay. This is Game Set, sponsored by Omen by HP.
Fisher really leading the charge here for Gladiators in terms of main tank.
Fisher is able to take down his counterpart in room. Hydration's broken.
My name is Fisher, main tank for Gladiator. 제가 하는 영웅은 최근에는 라인하르트를 가장 많이 합니다. 게임 설정에도 오버워치 자체 플레이하는데 되게 도움이 많이 되는 설정이 많습니다. 컴퓨터 앉았을 때 가장 중요하게 생각하는 설정 두 개는 그래픽 설정이랑 그리고 해상도 설정입니다. 그래픽 세팅 같은 경우는 무조건 가장 높은 거 1920에서 1080, 보통 같은 경우는 1920이 가장 많이 쓰고 있고요, 대중적으로. 그래서 240에 설정해주고 디스플레이 퍼포먼스 스탯 그 왼쪽 위에 있는 이 프레임을 체크해주는 이거 하나 정도는 설정을 해주셔야 돼요, 온으로. 리밋 프레임은 디스플레이 베이스도 나쁘진 않은데 컴퓨터 사양이 좋으신 만큼 커스텀을 하셔가지고 끝까지 올려주시는 게 가장 좋아요. 그래야 최대치에서 이게 프레임이 조금 낮아져도 더 좋은 프레임을 가질 수 있어요. 근데 만약 디스플레이 베이스로 하게 되면은 항상 240이 유지됩니다. 이제 그래픽 설정 같은 경우는 평소에 이제 이렇게 미디움으로 설정되어 있는데 저 같은 경우는 그냥 로우로 맞춰놓는 게 모델 디테일 자체를 좀 미디움을 해줘요. 왜냐면은 때때로는 상대를 볼 때 조금 더 자세하게 봐야 될 때가 있어가지고. 그리고 사운드 이펙트 볼륨이랑 인게임 보이스 볼륨은 무조건 둘 다 100으로 해줘야 돼요. 왜냐면 둘 다 되게 중요한 소리이기 때문에 뭐가 하나 놓치면 그러니까 저의 핵심적인 캐릭터의 감도를 알려주자면 라인하르트 같은 경우는 7.65, 옛날엔 8을 썼었는데 약간 저랑 조금 더 감도를 맞추려고 7.65를 쓰고 있고요. 이게 뭐 크로스헤어 같은 경우는 점을 써줍니다. 초록색이 이 모든 색깔 중에서 초록색이 눈에 가장 좋은 색깔이라고 하기 때문에 저 정확하지 않습니다. 근데 저도 그렇게 들었기 때문에 초록색을 써주고요. 기본 베이스인. 그리고 정확도를 온으로 해줌으로써 이 0이랑 30으로 고정이 돼 있죠. 또한 이거 이 점 이건 이제 뭐 크게 작용 안 하는데 그냥 1로 저 같은 경우 1로 해주고 이것도 크게 작용 안 하죠. 보시면 이제 가장 중요한 세팅이 이렇게 세 가지인데
Up and the Gladiators take it down and take the series against the Seoul Dynasty.
분들이 여기서 많이 따라오신다면은 굉장히 좋은 세팅을 가지고 많은 실력을 늘릴 수 있을 거라 생각합니다.
Welcome back, boys and girls. These guys are throwing down. The Philadelphia Fusion and the LA Gladiators are all tied up 1-1. And another good match on the day. It's like the Overwatch gods have blessed us. Thank you. so much. Now, a friendly reminder to everybody out there who has the Twitch All Access Pass. Tonight's Q&A is going to be with Bishu, the off-tank for the LA Gladiators. So if you want to ask him how he feels being the communication beacon for his team or what his favorite dessert is, tonight is the night to do that after the matches have concluded. And remember to switch over to Command Center when we're all done today if you want to check out the Q&A. And if you don't have the Twitch All Access Pass, check it out. You're getting a away skin from each of the Overwatch League teams. It's pretty cool, you know? And it comes with the All Access Pass. So check that out for sure. Anyways, guys, it's been a very good matchup so far. Go either way, guys. So let's go ahead and hop right back into the action and send it over to our casters, Uber and Mr. X.
Oh, yeah. Let's go. One apiece at halftime. Yeah. Kind of what we were hoping, I suppose. Although I don't think we really expected to see Horizon be such a one-sided affair. That map was over very, very quickly. We didn't
super quick.
The second point.
Also, the All Access, the away skins, they look awesome in game. I have them. I really like.
Anywhere else?
I like the. No, you can't. I love the London Spitfire Genji one. Yep. No, the Shanghai Zarya one looks super cool. The Mayhem Widowmaker one, the weapon, also super awesome as well. If you got the gold weapon, so go out and get those.
So a bunch of stuff to get for that. Oh, the AMAs are also really good as well. Kareev last night was fantastic on his AMA. So yeah, definitely worth getting around there. You guys probably got to try it out because we didn't have that for free to start with. All right, so Void comes in for Bishu here as we head over towards our control map.
No rotation for DPS really, it seems like, anymore for the Gladiators. You know, we kind of, I feel like we all gave them props, like, oh yeah, they figured it out. You know, you leave the tank lines the same, you leave the supports the same, and then you just rotate in some DPS. Well, now it seems like they just rotate in flex tanks and they leave hydration.
Let me ask you this question then.
Yeah. Why would you bring in anybody else?
Where does Asher fit into this?
Right. Well, they have Silk Thread as well.
Yeah, Silk Thread.
Silk Thread too.
Well, I think there's a case to be made for him having a spot in here, but I mean, again, hydration covers a lot of those projectile-based heroes.
Right.
You know that
it's like, why bring? I mean, unless you wanted like 2 hit scan, which like you don't really run 2 hit scan. I mean, like you maybe want that.
Silk Thread's performances on the Gladiators have been very, very good.
Yeah.
Since he joined up, of course, coming across from the Valiant. Maybe we see him later today. Maybe we don't. The Gladiators right now are just trying to fight to get themselves in pole position and give them the advantage heading into map 4. To the skies we go. Hydration v Shadowburn. Now this I really feel is a pick in the pocket for Shadowburn and Hydration. Both these guys are big Pharah buffs.
Oh, and Carpe's going to play Widow. We've seen what he's done on Widowmaker on this map in the past.
This is why I live for the Philly games, fam. Oh, okay, Fisher, yeah, you're in trouble. It's a one-man wrecking ball, Carpe. I mean, that headshot accounts for so much of the damage. I think Void and Shawful are looking for Carpe right now. What? Oh, he's a rebel without a cause. He's got himself 2 kills. The Gladiators have to commit 3 plays to try and stop him.
More than that. I'm watching the mini-map here, and as soon as he picks up Fisher, everybody turns on the Gladiators, and he gets Void weak. He takes out Shaz. You need to dedicate pretty much everybody on the team to go deal with a Widowmaker. Carpe is so fun to watch, man.
Hydration, that was a close shave there. That final rocket from Shadowburn was very close.
They're going for Carpe again. I mean, they push him all the way back to the spawn, and that just gives a huge player advantage to the Fusion on the point.
Carpe is the one creating space for his team. Yeah. On Widowmaker. Seen everything.
I mean, if you don't
even die.
I mean, Surefour was playing Tracer, so if you don't put pressure on Carpe with your, whether it's Winston or Diva, there's really nothing you can do. And then Hydration just gets plucked out of the sky as Shadowburn finds out the hard way that Surefour now running the Widow.
Shadowburn, lucky there. He was essentially stationary, or not moving very much, and Surefour had that headshot. Shadowburn would be no more. Hydration, though, is also dealing with the wrath of Carpe. I like him as a player. He's not afraid to be a villain, you know what I mean? He's out there to win.
I think my favorite part about that was filthy.
Oh, yes! Oh. That's what I'm all about. Surefour deals with Shadowburn eventually, but, I mean, the rest of the Gladiators are just kicked out of town.
I think, like, any player who's played, like, an extended amount of DPS, or just, like, you've been a player in other games who've just been like your main fragger or killer for a team, like appreciates how Carpe plays, because he plays how you would normally play, like when you're on fire all the time, right? Challenging anything, going crazy, but like he plays like that 24/7. You see Sato get a pin there on a Fissure. It's going to be an Earth Shatter as well. That'll be a Graviton Surge too.
There's a lot committed to that fight by the Fusion.
The Transcendence from both sides now. Yeah. Oh, just it's going to be Shaz using that Transcendence.
Yeah, he pops his. Oh yeah, he pops that one earlier on. Boombox still has his for the time being. Or Shadowburn takes that first rocket he's got to give ground. I dare you to barrage him in the face. You find Big Goose, barrage him. All right, you're soft. Oh, well, we might be forced his hand there. You can see Hydration comes in with a barrage of his own. Good follow-up by Shadowbird, and that's the Transcendence that was saved. So this puts the Fusion back in a very good spot, Matt. They win the fight, they're 99%. It's pretty much done and dusted right here for round one. The Fusion, individual brilliance here, and quite a few of those moments.
Yeah, so Carpe shoots 70% on scoped accuracy there, Widowmaker, on our first point.
I mean, you know, for context, you can compare it to Surefour with a very respectable 46%.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a sick percentage from Surefour as well. And it's crazy that Carpe played it the whole round too. It's not like he switched on to Widow for like a few seconds and then he puts up those numbers. That's probably not what the Gladiators wanted to see happen here on Li Xiang at the beginning.
That's a risk you take. I mean, bear in mind, Philadelphia Fusion spent most of the round sort of in control of the point. Now, if you're playing Kara and or Widowmaker, and it's even worse if you're playing both, you're at a distinct weakness if you don't control the point itself, right? You really want to have that, win that first fight, and then you can use that, you know, Pharaoh Widow to exacerbate your lead further. Carpe was the one who gave Philadelphia Fusion that first fight win by getting those 2 picks and diverting all that attention towards it.
Charges onto the point here.
Weird spec issue there. We can obviously see the zoom in. Void's in trouble though. He's taking an absolute bombardment in the skies. Hey, Boombox goes down first though. Shaz is such a wizard when it comes. Oh! We didn't even see that! Man overboard! Someone give him the floaties. Shadowburn sends
I didn't even see them launch that. I think he actually, if you shoot like a rocket in that at the same time, I think it like comes out. And almost looking at the same animation. I believe there's like something you could do with Farah to make it look like that.
They do look,
whether it's with a melee or another rocket.
Okay. Well, it's hard for us to see. Yeah, it's hard for us to see that because the sound it makes is a little bit different. But Shadowburn just sent that over the lip of the wall, and I don't know if he actually saw what he was going to get for it. But the Gladiators aren't using a Reinhardt, right? So they are susceptible to concussive blast in general. They can't sort of move the Winston bubble. Hydration, you really want to fight this, fam? Thinks twice now. Takes a step back after a direct hit rocket. Definitely one of a big pocket pick here for Shadowburn.
Oh, this is
demolishes.
I mean, it's one of Shadowburn's best heroes. I think you can make an argument, second best hero, right behind his Genji. I think very good Zarya player as well.
I just think that this Pharah is the most relevant part of the hero pool right now.
Without a doubt.
Surefour sends one back across. That is Neptuno. What's the... Oh, that's cheeky Neptuno! He's asking for a lot there, and Hydration punishes him for going for such a risky resurrect. I think that of itself speaks to just how much priority the Fusion put on having Carpe alive in the fight.
That they used Valkyrie and they tried to run across a rocket barrage to try and get him, man.
So the reason obviously why you use Valkyrie is that you actually can you can move to a degree while you're channeling that Resurrector's Mercy. So a lot of players sort of start using Valkyrie and then just try and move as much as they can. They don't have to stand on the ground, obviously.
You can like be a little bit higher in the air as well.
Yeah, it's a safer way to get a Resurrect mid-fight, but that wasn't backed up with the Transcendence at all. Neptuno either didn't call for it or, you know, Boombox wasn't going to...
Maybe they didn't expect the push to come in that quick, and maybe I mean, the rocket barrage as well.
You know, like, if the Gladiators get a pick on Carpe, you probably should expect them to kick it up a gear, right? And also to get there to punish the Resurrect. We actually see that happen a lot too with teams that play Boston. They really, because they know that Kellex goes for these crazy Resurrects and somehow it gets these ridiculous ones sometimes, but we see that punished very frequently as well.
So there'll be a few more kills here for the Gladiators as they're going to tie this game up in terms of percentage. It's Philadelphia. They will have this rocket barrage as you don't really see a ton of big barrages anymore.
Is that from Hopper? He just sends up a defense matrix while Carpe is sort of in there just to make sure Surefour doesn't get a pick on him.
It's frustrating to play against for Surefour. I mean, you see how many resources they dedicate to Carpe, right?
Does Carpe need any more of an advantage?
Yeah.
Surefour has an inkling where to expect Carpe right now. But he kind of has to focus on the job at hand. This is what gives Carpe a window to get into a position that Surefour might not be ready for. Surefour didn't see Carpe there, but he's assuming. He's expecting that he's encroaching on his territory. The Gladiators are in the lead now in this round after a bit of a slow start, but they've lost Void's mech. Sada removing Fisher as well. Now that'll be an easy cleanup. Big Goose haven't committed Valkyrie to the fight.
It's a big fight here for Philly.
I mean, they have that trans as well. They didn't have to use that. Yeah. That's so big. What a high value fight win for the Fusion.
It's massive. Big Goose will fall as well, but it's exactly what I was going to talk about. You have Infrasight now. You still have this rocket barrage, but you hold on to Transcendence. You're able to win through that fight with Valkyrie. You use the Primal Rage as well, self-destruct, to just buy yourself some space. It's a really good fight win for Philadelphia.
Precise. Carpe going to get the advantage now in the fight. Can't do much with it while he's being accosted by Fisher, but look at the pressure that's being placed on Fisher, and Hydration just getting picked out of the sky. Sent straight back to the runway. It's a no-fly zone, my dude.
I actually think one of the best things about that play is they land a headshot onto Fissure, and they know exactly what's going to happen. That Big Goose is going to try and follow it up. And in the sky, Hotba meets him like halfway and takes him out as he's trying to heal Fissure. They pretty much get a 2-for-1 there. Heads-up play.
Hydration, you have entered Borg airspace, my friend. Carpe.
We may see like a solo barrage from Hydration onto Carpe.
Yeah, you know what? Worth.
I don't hate it.
Hashtag worth. Okay, Hydration, he has to drop to the point, Matt, just to keep it going, but that's such a dangerous place for him to be. Big Goose offers himself up. He actually brings Hydration back. Despite this, Hydration comes back in with a barrage here to try and turn the fight around. Void is down. Carpe's getting work done on this Widowmaker, and not much else being contributed by the rest of the Fusion up until now. Shadowburn has an opportunity to turn this fight around with a barrage, but Fisher finds himself the double. Shadowburn being chased down. Fisher removes it. Hotba is the only player for the Fusion on the point. He's going to leave, but he can't. Should I stay? Should I go? Got no choice but to give himself up on the point. Sato in through the window, does make the jump. Neptuno and Boombox are coming around the corner, but Sato's going to go for the Primal Rage now and try and stay alive as long as he possibly can. Boombox is going to get jumped on by Fissure out towards the side, but the rest of the Fusion are starting to make their way through. Will they get there in time is the question. Shadowburn needs to nail it through the window. He gets there, he's got a barrage, but using it here is way too risky with Void on guard. And Carpe's going to be kept outside. What a piece here. Now we're getting a real good Overwatch team.
Shadowburn holds on to this barrage for so long. He never really ends up getting a chance to use it. I know barrage is a difficult ultimate to like figure out a spot to use it. You take a look at a replay here from Fissure as he gets all these kills with the Primal Rage. He puts this pressure on Carpe.
Oh, I love that.
Really nice play.
And we know that Fisher is more than happy to walk the tightrope when it comes to those fights over the edges of maps. Yeah. He's got a very good understanding. I think an intrinsic sort of feel for his jump pack cooldowns while in Primal Rage. It's kind of always available to him, but he plays that really well.
You need to get some kind of use of that barrage. Whether it's one kill, whether it's like a D-mech or something.
I feel like Void Defense Matrix is that, and you die to Shaz in that position.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. You definitely got to commit to it. Remember, Shadowburn's definitely the player that's more likely to hold his ultimate than just...
I like how he goes with Genji, right? Held onto his blades for a very long time.
And then EQO held it even longer. Somehow they found someone that did it longer than George did. Regardless, fighting on the point, and the Fusion have slightly better position. They're playing around that sort of middle parapet here, but Shadowburn loses out in the air battle, and Hopper's forced away by Void, who's starting to charge up.
Yeah, so what I'm going to keep an eye on is that charge. I talked about it in the first map with Void able to double up Hotba in terms of getting that Graviton Surge. The charge was unreal in favor of Void. Right now, they're about even.
Void, though, powering through Sato's barrier there. So the rest of the Philadelphia Fusion don't want to come to the party without their chaperone. Wait for Sato to return. Make their way back in slowly. So we do have our Valkyrie here for Big Goose. Boombox is close to a Transcendence here. Sure for Deadeye around the corner. Good to see McCree play on this particular map. It's a dangerous landscape for them normally, but in the absence of Winston here, you can get more done. We can look at how much space Fisher can create simply by existing on Reinhardt. That's why we see this McCree inclusion.
It's Big Goose, Valkyrie is actually going for Shadowburn on the outside of the map. Trying to land some kills as the Void that takes out Hotba. Shadowburn does take out Surefoot. This will get res right up though.
Clever angle. Hotba is resurrected. Remember, you don't get that charge back if you're brought back to life, so Hotba sort of needs to regain that the hard way. Fisher charges in. Double Transcendence here, and Shadowburn just sitting behind that shield. Fisher, he does get Carpe with that one, who drops in. It wasn't using Deadeye, it was just Carpe.
Yeah, Surefoot uses Deadeye, but it's going to be...
walks into that!
Sato actually protects him really nice. That'll be an Earth Shadow there from Sato as well. Hotba's going to have this grab. Void has already used his.
See above, Neptuno trying to work his way through Shadowburn with that barrage as well. Perfect combo if you need it with the Graviton Surge, but they actually don't need to use those ultimates to win the fight, which is... That's a lot of value for the Fusion that can come back and manifest in a bigger way next fight.
You can play close to the door if you want here. You can play back by the point. A lot of options here for Philadelphia. As Void had used his grab, he only connects with 2 players, and Boombox had actually used his Transcendence. But and when they used a solo shatter on a Carpe, and then Surefoot's coming around the corner with the Deadeye.
I think Hydration wants to jump in and get a barrage on a support
and
finish them off, because he's been very
lurking on the outside.
Yeah, he's flying very high, so he's not sort of showing himself. Shadowburn doesn't know where he is. Here's a Graviton being used now, going to follow it up here with a barrage, and yeah, that's going to be enough damage. Or will it? Sureforce shuts down Shadowbird. Hydration, though, was spent so much time trying to flank around, and Hotbar just shot him down. Carpe with the clean-up, as McCree is often known to be very good at. And the Fusion maintained control, and that was, again, off the back. Winning a fight in which you didn't have to use your Graviton and your barrage prior.
Yeah, you also, you hold on to your Transcendence that's big. You're going to want the Transcendence to use when Void has that Graviton Surge again. If you can survive that, you feel pretty good for Philadelphia.
Yeah, you can see Fusion just backing up a little bit, realizing, okay, we've used Graviton. Voids is definitely going to be up first.
Carpe lurking with this Deadeye as well.
Up on that high ground here. Okay, jumps out, quick Deadeye. On the way down, no, doesn't find too much there, and Shadowbird already fell to Sureforce. So there's a lot of work to be done here for Carpe to make up for that fight. One shot on Hydration. Transcendence there, Deadeye being used, and yeah, there it is, the three-piece for Sureforce. And not a thing the Fusion could do. Better to just close your eyes and let it happen.
That'll be everybody dead for the Fusion. They will have Shatter, Grav, won't have a support ult. Shad's gonna get this Transcendence. That could be the big game changer. That and Fissure's Earth Shatter.
Yeah, Shatter.
We'll see. I know Fissure loves to like kind of hide in these corners and use Earth Shatter. We'll see how he decides to play this. Right now, just set it up on the point.
On Oasis, he'll go coast to coast, just to flank you and get one down. That's the stuff that really gets me going. So he's forced back a little bit because he's taking shots in the side. So the Pharah has control of that area. Transcendence now inside this one. Earth Shatter to respond. Hotbar and Boombox are knocked to the ground. Trying to keep him healed up is Neptuno, but he failed to do so. Hotbar and Sada were down. The front line for Philadelphia Fusion. MIA. Oh, it was KIA, to be honest. You can see it happen in front of you. The Gladiators come back in, and they're really winning this one out. Map 3 of the series will go the way of Los Angeles here. And that was a big, big Earth Shatter from Fisher.
Huge. It's the difference maker on that point, which ends up giving Gladiators the map. Could be the map that actually decides the series. I thought Sureforce played really well on the McCree. 15 final blows here on Lijiang Tower. We'll see if the Gladiators can close it out right after this break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel. Intel Core i7 powers the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's fastest network ever.
In Stage 4, Week 1, the Philadelphia Fusion and the Boston Uprising were all tied up coming out of halftime. Both teams won a round on Lijiang Tower, so it came down to Night Market.
This is exactly what the Philadelphia Fusion wanted to get out from the Boston Uprising. Striker on a hero that, from all that we know, he has just picked up. Mistakes on a hero that you feel like Carpe can win the battle against.
After Philly had gained over 90% control, Boston was forced into a fight on the point for a last-ditch effort at flipping control.
But it looks like the Boston Uprising are too busy trying to take the point. That's the Widow Duel 1. Again, Philadelphia Fusion always going to come out on top. Striker, though, lands a big triple on the barrage there. The Graviton helping.
Striker took out 4 of the Fusion players, and a Boston flip seemed imminent, but Carpe stepped in with 3 headshots to eliminate Kalios' Zarya, Striker's Pharah, and Kelix's Mercy. After EQO finished off Gamsu's Reinhardt, the Fusion secured the point and won the map.
Fusion always going to come out on top. Striker, though, lands a big triple on the barrage there. The Graviton helping. Both supports are caught together. That's what they needed, but Carpe strikes in again. Striking down. Kelix also being removed. Carpe, what are you doing? This is unbelievable. He turns around and gets on the point. EQO follows it up. How have they redone this?
The Philadelphia Fusion went on to win the match and left with a decisive victory to start off Stage 4. That right there was the turning point where Carpe and the Philadelphia Fusion turned a sour moment into something sweet. Presented by Sour Patch Kids Candy.
Quite a moment there between Philadelphia Fusion and Boston, and I mean, ironically enough, we see the Fusion unable to replicate that kind of success up against the Gladiators, who just played out of their mind on that last map.
Yeah.
You can see what Void adds to this team, especially on that Zarya. He's out there killing it.
We'll have a sub, though. Unfortunately, unfortunately for a lot of you, Void will come out, Bishu will come in. So, they make this change. They probably feel like they need a little bit more diva play. You bring Bishu into the lineup. He's bringing their diva player. I mean, throughout all of Overwatch League this time.
This kind of substitutes airtight, right? I mean, like we've seen
both players have been really good. Yeah. It is interesting though. Coming into the week, we were always like, all right, who is the second best team in the league, right? It's like not even like let's talk about who number 1 is. Who's number 2 is like a lot of people thought the Gladiators. Some people threw the Fusion in there. Now it's like, who knows?
We had this conversation on Watchpoint, and I said, I think the Gladiators are. I think that they're, we've seen them in the past just be the better team over London, for example, who are now making their resurgence. And that might still be the case. It is very hard to tell. And these teams are all 1-2 games apart from each other there. 2nd through 6th locked up.
Yeah, I don't know. It's...
What do you guys think? If you tweet me at Overwatch League MVP, AWL MVP, Uber shouts.
If you were to put me on like the spot and say like, okay, who is going to finish second, or at the end of the year we look back, who's the second best team? I'd have to say London, just because I've seen them do it before.
You have faith in that?
I've seen them do it before, right? I have faith in that repair job. But we've seen what the Philadelphia Fusion are at their peak as well. They're right there up there too.
Well, they've been there in those state title matches. And so here we have 2 teams that are very much in the conversation and in consideration have a shot. The Philadelphia Fusion had a little bit of a rough run of it lately, and of course, Gladiators fans are still feeling the sting from yesterday. This would be a great recovery for either one.
I was just going to say, even speaking about yesterday, I mean, you see what the limit or potential is for the Valiant as well. When Suna and Agilities play like that, you have the stellar tank play, like they really don't have like a glaring weakness when you look at that lineup when those 2 DPS players play the way they did.
Oh, look at Shortfall. He's getting focused down by so many people. Sato went very deep to try and find him, and Shortfall manages to shrug off the attention of Sato and still find the pick on Shadowburn. We sort of saw this yesterday. Teams willingly playing the Pharah into a defensive Widowmaker. Quite often, defensive Widowmakers we see sit on the right-hand side or on the arch at the back, and then Pharah can get a little bit more done. But we saw there where Shortfall was sitting on the other side by the stairs.
Chuno gains a ton of Valkyrie charge out of this as well. Already at Valkyrie. Yeah, I think he's only at 50% right now.
I mean, like if you compare it to his Boombox, Neptuno's had 85% of his team's healing thus far, which is huge.
Yeah.
He has, oh my lord, he has about 4 times as much as Big Goose. Just from sort of opening moments here. That's lovely.
You can't just casually go over the top of the roof like
that. No, it's like, and if you don't have the information on where the enemy Widowmaker is, you probably shouldn't peek, just hoping you see them before they see you and smash you.
Unless the Shadowburn's goal is to not go against the Widow. He's trying to just put pressure on the Fissure and Hydration down in the front.
And you see Bishu's on guard duty there as well, making sure Shadowburn doesn't sneak in. Something's got to give here. The Fusion have to approach this a different way.
They'll use Valkyrie and they'll try and push on in. That's what they're going to try and do. Neptuno is going to try and be the one that chases down Surefour. As Surefour, though, connects onto Shadow and Shadowburn, takes him out.
I'm really impressed with Surefour able to multitask so well. Not only avoid all this attention that's being thrown at him, but actually get kills. Normally, we just expect Widowmakers to try and stay alive when this is happening. Eventually, though, the weight of the pressure the Fusion have been applying over this fight starts to sort of get the better of the Gladiators. Surefour drops. See Hydration, quick switch. Fissure switching over as well. And we now have a quasi-dive with Widowmaker comp for the Gladiators. Genji, Widow.
So we'll see how this works out. Carpe hitting some shots as it'll be point A. That goes to Philadelphia. They need to use the Valkyrie to gain a lot of that healing as they go in. So this is going to be the first time we see Shadowburn play Genji in this series. On this second point, not a lot of great space to hide behind. That is a reflected shot right back at Surefour there.
Bishu maybe didn't realize exactly what he was running into there, but Hydration follows it up beautifully. 3! Not even Dragon Blade required. What a great response. They lose the player. Both tanks go in, Hydration just dashes straight through, and it was actually the Fusion with their foot in their mouth. Stunning, that was really nice.
Oh, that's really nice from Hydration.
I don't think did he get 2 with 1 stash? I'm not quite sure.
It almost looked like he did, like they lined up. So yeah, Billy back at full strength. We'll take a look.
Look at the coordination. You're outnumbered here if you're the Gladiators.
The melee quick. So it was a dash through and then the melee that comes right after. So it makes it look like it's gonna the same.
Widow getting on both sides. It's kind of fun actually. I like these compositions. Just from an entertainment standpoint.
I would agree. So it'll be Valkyrie used from Philadelphia. It's gonna be Transcendence used by Shaz.
Oh, Carpe, you're in deep trouble, my dude. You're not getting that many. Oh, he gets away though. Neptuno was there. Yeah, let me guess. Was that the blaster? I just can't be surprised anymore. He goes after Hydration, decides to back away, and Hotbuzz there with the charge. Fusion march on.
Neptuno is we watch a lot of Mercy sometimes, right? They're just kind of like, casually flying through the air, using that Valkyrie, just keeping everybody healed up.
Oh, no.
Neptuno is aggressive with that. I mean, I feel like he's always pulling the blaster out during it as Shadowburn does have Blade. Let's see how long he decides to hold on to it. Oh, that's going to be Hydration. Pulls out his. He gets headshot right away by Carpe. Carpe takes out Surefour as well. 2 huge kills from Carpe.
Both headshots, both against extremely high priority targets.
Gets Hydration again.
Back to life and just wrecked. And now Shadowburn, yeah, it's time to get jiggy with it. Dragon Blade's out. Shaz is going to get absolutely smashed, but Bishu turns things around. That's a big 2K with that self-destruct. There are a couple Gladiators players here. Shadowburn needs to get Big Goose now, or this fight could drag out longer than they would like. Self-destruct here. Fissure just LOS is just one hiding under the bottom.
Oh, the Gladiators going to turn this around.
Yes.
Philadelphia, there's no way they should have ended up losing this fight. Sato comes back, though, off the spawn. He puts down a ton of damage on Hydration. They're going to be able to take him out.
Double dash from Shadowburn as well. You can see he got a lot of value from them, but Shadowburn needs to be very careful. One more swing of the fist and he's done.
Ooh. Those are... It's a big shot there from Surefour. I was going to say, here comes Carpe as he hits one, but it's Surefour takes out Hotba. This will get rezzed up. A lot of ultimates from both teams being extended into this fight. This fight's gone on forever.
Big Goose has been given a lot of rope here as well. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Now the Widowmaker plays are really starting to step it up a notch. Shadowburn being healed, but he wasn't inside a Transcendence, he didn't have a lot of backup, but Carpe doesn't care. He says, okay, just get him to jump around and let me shoot at them. Self-destruct. Surefour's back. It's tit for tat. With
they got off it.
You should get across the line. Yeah, well, Bishu set up the self-destruct, right? Could have been a bit of miscommunication there, but this Widow battle is amazing. It's 6 final blows for Surefour, 8 for Carpe in total.
Carpe still with that good scoped accuracy at 63%, 25% crit. You got Surefour right there with him. 30% crit on 51% scoped accuracy. Both of these guys playing so well tonight.
Hydration is okay. I like this. Bishu Hydration sitting in that back corner. I think Sato knew that they were there. Carpe's going to get rushed down though. Oh, great save from Hot, but charges in, gets the boot damage on Hydration. Even after D.Va having that sort of burst damage reduced, he's still able to get a lot done with it.
It's just the respect he has for Carpe. When he uses the blade, he comes down and he has to just hold up the deflect there as he doesn't want to get headshot as he's coming right at him. That gives the remaining members of Philadelphia time to go and peel appropriately for Carpe.
Oh, Big Goose! He can't even get out of spawn. It's looking like a big problem for him so far, and Sato can, again, do some door work here. So slight annoyance coming in from the side for Bishu. Carpe now has changed position yet again. He's moved completely across the map now. Very hard to track. And yes, they've sent the big boss after him. Even Fisher can't deal with Carpe. He's been pocketed well. Jeez, if he hits that shot, I lose my mind. Sure might not have been ready for Carpe to come up with that angle. Carpe had ample time to line that one up, didn't find the shot. Self-destruct in over the top. Big Goose has to drop over the wall, actually into harm's way to avoid that. And Hydration's back in the fight, but Shadowburn's not done there. That's 2 down, or 1 in the mech, should I say. The Dragon Blade, really just used to intimidate.
So they did use the Transcendence there as well to try and back up that blade, and it'll be hotbar on the payload. This will be Hydration using Rally, so they're going to earn that Brigade ultimate. This Philly doesn't want to fight into this. A lot of armor being gained here. They start to back out a little bit. Only 40 seconds left for Philly to make a play.
It's tough for Carpe to find angles here. He's playing on the low ground, trying to fire up at the high ground. It's a pretty terrible shooting angle. I think he's trying to aim under the payload. Neptuno down. Great self-destruct. Bishu's done so well in this last couple defensive fights here. Keeping the Gladiators in it. Shadowbird and Sato are right there, you can see. Shadowbird has to use his deflect in order just to get across, and the Fusion are out of fuel.
So Sato has Primal. You can extend this for Neptuno to get back. Carpe will use the Infrasight. You don't have that pocket here. It's going to be Boombox using Transcendence. Sato's going to use his Primal Rage here as well. They make a late attempt to get this.
Big Goose now is at the target for Sato here. He's just trying to cause some problems here for the Mercy. Hopper on the payload. Shadowburn, another deflect use. He's quite a long way away from that Dragon Blade. Hopper has to be a self-destruct now to try and get his mech back. Carpe's still sitting in the back line here trying to send those shots off, but Hydration is just taking his time. He's not picking out for too long.
Shadowburn's going to have a blade here, though. Just gets it now, is at 93% and counting. This will be Bishu, uses his self-destruct, and he gets taken out by Shadowburn. Now you have an opportunity to use this blade.
Dragon Blade time now, there's no Transcendence to keep them alive, and Shadowburn dashes through. But Shawford and Fisher fire back very effectively. The Tracer now causing havoc and getting both support for the Philadelphia Fusion. The Gladiators double down, and they look so good doing it. Hotbar in a 1v2 essentially now, as Fisher's knocking Carpe away, and I'm pretty sure he'll have the Widowmaker dead to rights. Now with a Transcendence, there's no way the Gladiators can lose this fight out. Doggedly, with the Philadelphia Fusion fighting to stay in this one. You can see the Carpe a little bit frustrated.
Yeah, that got really close towards the end when Shadowburn used the blade, but it's a nice switch from Surefour onto Tracer. Gets in there with Fissure, and they're able to make a big play.
I want to see this moment here. I think we're going to check it out when Bishu kind of puts the Gladiators back in the fight. Obviously, unfortunate letter number. It's the self-destruct that goes in over the top. Getting 2 here is huge. Carpe and Boombox, not much you can do about that at all. That 2K keeps the Gladiators in it in a big way. Both he and Void, in all fairness, have really been delivering with those self-destructs today.
The Gladiators, it's interesting. It's well, I mean, even with both these teams, right? I remember coming into the Overwatch League, everyone was like, "Oh, I know Philly. They're probably not going to be very good. All the Gladiators, they got a weak roster, or whatnot." It's like both these teams have been so good.
What a rough week for the Gladiators. Going up against 2 of the top teams.
The Houston Outlaws are pretty happy about their rough week, right? Yeah, if Philly's able to come back and win this, right?
Absolutely.
The Outlaws have Shanghai and Florida this week.
Hopefully those 2 wins for the Houston Outlaws to try and stay in it. Although
I would say if they lose one of those, that would be
unexpected,
a surprise.
Yep.
To a few people.
So the Fusion now probably aren't too stressed out by this one. They did get most of the way towards the end of the map. I have felt, at least in this series, that the Gladiators look really good in that defensive gearing in general. I think they're very, I think I said the watertight was my way of putting it. So we'll see. I don't mind the Roadhog here from Hopper.
What do you think about defensive Pharah?
In the same vein, I think, as we sort of saw it on Eichenwalde back in later on stage 2. The problem is that if you're playing against enemy Pharah, I think this is assuming that the Gladiators are playing dive. I think you play Pharah assuming that, and then I like it because you can punish the choke and really get a lot of tank damage. But Shawful can always switch to 76 if it doesn't work out, and then you've got to play very carefully.
Do you play 76 or Widow? He's sitting in the spawn. He's sitting in the spawn, so he's just waiting
to see the comp,
to see what they're gonna run.
I think Shadowburn is trying to stay hidden as well. Actually, this is really interesting. Shawful doesn't know what to play yet. He's still okay. Widow. I think that's you don't see 76 here. It doesn't make any sense to play it against a reset. You're spending 95% of your life shooting barriers, not feeling great about it.
And also, if the goal is to get the Pharah in the sky, or with how far away Shadowburn could play, and then also to contest the other Widow, it's like, I mean, we see Widow take the spot of McCree and 76 a lot here on the land client, right?
I'd like defensive Pharah into Widowmaker if you can be aggressive, right?
Yes.
And just pressure Shawful into not being able to take the sight lines, because Shawfall has to deal with Carpe and Shadowburn. There's two people that are right at the top of his list. But Hydration, well, he gets to deal a lot of damage to people on the ground because neither Shadowburn nor Carpe are going to be there. He kind of gets free reign on the tanks. So that's a lot of easy charge for those Dragon Blades to start coming through. And now Shawfall's found Shadowburn. The Gladiators looking like they're on a roll.
Yeah, that's because Shadowburn can't play as aggressive. His teammate's just getting pummeled into the corner. He has to fall back. That relieves all the pressure off of Surefour, and you're able to just pick up these kills at range. As Carpe still here, does take out Big Goose, so no mercy here for the Gladiators. Oh, I was gonna say, maybe you can come in and fight this, but Hoppa's so weak he falls. It seems like Philadelphia didn't really know what they wanted to do there. It seemed like half of them thought they were going in to fight, half of them thought they were gonna back out.
And Hydration gets a front row seat to his tanks just pummeling.
How do you hit that?
You don't.
Looking like straight down.
You don't hit that. That's just it's just a simulation, Matt.
You got 1 HP. Oh,
Wake up, Matt. You're sleeping. Sato, they won't get away at all. This is so beautiful for the Gladiators. And now, and look at Hydration. He didn't have to be the tip of the spear in most of those fights, but he just sits there, you know, he's like Drake. He's giving out them shurikens, right? Already ready with a Dragon Blade. The Gladiators are in a position to snowball this completely out of control. The only boon for the Fusion is that they've taken so much damage that they've actually done more healing than the Gladiators, so they have both their support ultimates online.
Well, I mean, but also when the Pharah doesn't work out and that comp doesn't work out, they have to make some changes. So you're not going to have, I believe Sato was playing Orisa a little bit earlier, and then you were playing Roadhog, so you don't have an opportunity to get Supercharger Blade or a Self-Destruct off that first fight.
You damage boost Hydration's Blade though, or a Blade, you know, that lets you do the slash and dash combo. You don't have to take 2 slashes to kill someone with 200 HP. That's sort of why you do it. Hydration's been holding the Blade right now, doing his best EQO impression, but the Gladiators have not been stopped here. This is the Fusion in free fall right now. They're just getting churned through, and this is just win more, if I'm honest with you now. Carpe shuts down Hydration, but again, troops on the ground, that's where Fusion needs to be fighting right now, and Shawfall's returned to the fray. They have information where Carpe is, because Switch is currently belting his chops in. And now he'll be able to control the high ground, force Shadowburn away from it now, and that sucks. If you don't have high ground defending this point, you feel really bad walking out of that choke.
Yes, Sato uses Primal Rage, trying to get back to the rest of his team. Get all healed up. Maybe you can fight this one more time. As be a self-destruct from Bishu. I wonder if he was trying to launch that one. Ends up just on the cards.
Possibly. It could. The mech itself could have caught, or it could have just been a mechanical thing. Either way, it doesn't really hurt them. I think in a big way, he gets a set effective healing done. But there's no reason to do that there because you'd rather give your support's ultimate percentage by healing your mech. But we digress. Shaz is brought back to life. Shawfall doesn't want to go to the high ground because to repel up there would expose him to Carpe, who hasn't used his Infrasight. Shawfall has. So the Gladiators had a lot of information during that fight and still weren't able to capitalize on it. Carpe finds Shawfall downrange, 2 HP.
And they back out now. Hydration switched over to Sombra, so you got a use of his Dragon Blade. Now you're going to play Sombra here towards the end.
I mean,
maybe
81% already, no less.
A big EMP maybe in the courtyard. You're able to do it. Now, I thought they had a big advantage there because you had to change 3 heroes there for Philadelphia. You had a huge ultimate advantage. Not able to do it, and oh, look at this. So the damage ticking down, not able to...
interrupts the hack.
Yeah. Oh, there's Neptuno.
Okay, this might be where the Gladiators go aggressive. It's the perfect pick. You can see exactly where Neptuno's gone down. Hydration's wondering what probably detected him at this stage, but he's visible, but he's there to receive Saddles. He drops down big EMP now. That's going to be Hotbar and Shadowburn hacked up. Shadowburn finds Hydration though, despite that. You can see he's just waiting this one out. He's still got access to his shurikens here, and the Gladiators fall apart again. Carpe sitting on the payload, headshot on Big Goose. You just can't write this stuff.
He killed 3 during that with headshots.
He's 20 final blows to Shawfall's 12. Talk about putting the team on your back.
Oh,
now the Fusion have both their support ultimates back online. We want to see that in replay? Yeah, maybe we get that later on, but...
No, let's get it now.
No, you want it now. 2.
He gets the other one as well.
Yeah.
During that.
I mean, he did kill Big Goose at the start.
It has to be such a frustrating thing for the Gladiators. You come in, you're playing these fights well, you're in the right position, and then just out of nowhere, the guy comes in and hits just headshots after headshots, man.
It's Hydration then.
It's unreal.
I mean, he was out of position at that point, so that is technically a clean-up kill. It doesn't sort of start or end the fight necessarily, but...
But remember when the Fusion were behind an Ultimate Economy? Look at this. They have everything.
And,
a minute to go, too.
Okay! Chill out, Carpe!
So now, Carpe's on the other high ground, and Shadowburn's here, Surefour's here in the courtyard.
Fisher commits a bubble as well for that. He doesn't want to take any risks that Carpe has somehow got in position. Okay. Let's get out of hand now. Shadowburn has a Dragon Blade. Is that really necessary? Okay, he's just sending a message. I guess Bishu sliced in twain as soon as he exits the mech. Shadowburn does die for that, but really, Fusion aren't too stressed out right now. Now, that's a bit of a problem. Losing Neptuno, that was a shield bash from hydration. If I'm not mistaken, Neptuno was trying to set up a resurrect on Shadowburn there, so a little bit risky again. We've seen that from him multiple times. Carpe, oh, he had to take so much damage from Fisher there, and he follows it up. You see the repair pack was given to Fisher just before he jumps in. The Fusion have overextended a little bit, Matt. They've made a couple key errors now. They thought they were styling on the Gladiators, but now it might blow up in their face.
Yes, Boombox did use the Transcendence during this fight as well, so they're a little bit split. No ultimates to use here. You have Bishu with this self-destruct, and you're also going to have Valkyrie. Let's see if the Gladiators invest any into this fight.
Fisher now on the payload here. The Fusion have to push forward. Hotbar is going to be the guy that gets him there, but he's taken so much damage now. Self-destruct down, and Shadowburn fell to that somehow. Oh, he's going to be kicking himself about that one, man. They needed their Genji in this fight. Now it's just started. You can see the Bishu's zoned the whole backline of the Fusion out of it, and the Gladiators roar. They stay in this one now with 1:25 to finish the map and some momentum behind them.
It's a replay from Carpe's POV.
I can't even see.
I can't
even
see him. I didn't even see him. That's like stupid in a good way. That's unbelievable.
He's hitting that 23% critical hit accuracy there. So unbelievable.
So no support ults here for the Gladiators. Shadowburn will get this blade, and he'll have both support ults for Billy. They just need to be really careful when they go around hydration with this Brigitte. Yeah, Surefour's got to hit the shot.
He's all on Surefour right now. He has Infrasight, he has the information. Shadowburn starts off the blade. Surefour found him. The second shot actually hit its mark. That's very big. Trying to win a fight with an ultimate disadvantage. Look, those support ultimates, man, are gone for the Fusion.
Shadowburn goes so deep, there's nobody even close to him to try and help him out there. So he's trying to go for Shaz in the back as
Surefour did his job in a big way there. That's just unbelievable.
A little bit of a misplay with that blade, though.
Fusion back it up. Carpe will have an Infrasight in a moment, but he's being jumped on. You can see his health bar now looking worse for wear. Fisher drops in. Again, he's trying to find Carpe, but now runs headfirst into Hotbar. Self-destruct over the top for Hotbar. Keep an eye on that one there. Hotbar goes down, can't get the remake now. It's only 5 players left for the Fusion. Final stretch, and the Transcendence for Shaz. The Gladiators were in a bad spot. They had no support ultimates. The Fusion had them all, and now the shoe is on the other foot. Sarda's just trying to stay alive right now, while the rest of his team are just going to be caught up inside. Spawn corralled out. The Gladiators here might have found the boost they needed. Boombox is getting juggled right now, and he's the one with all the balls. He gets taken down, pushed away. The Gladiators have done it. They seal it up. What a fantastic turnaround. So many moments, Matt, where they looked like they were done. Left for dead, out of it, kaput. And individual brilliance once again pays the way to victory. Carpe has got to be fuming.
Gutted. He played unbelievable.
Surefour picking Shadowburn in that fight. See, Boombox and Neptuno commit both support ults at once. They layer them purposely to back Shadowburn up. Surefour hits 2 shots, finishes the Genji, and the rest is history. And the Gladiators bounce back after a rough start to the week, man. What fantastic play. I'm so thrilled about that.
Fissure was unbelievable here in the final map. Only dies 5 times there at the main tank role. It's made a huge difference for this team. Carpe not good enough to get Philadelphia Fusion the win today. He was incredible though, but it'll be the Gladiators who take this series 3-1. We'll catch up with the desk after the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
Hey, Doa, thanks for the ride.
No problem.
I've got something you've got to hear. This car has a pretty good sound system, right?
Yeah, the best.
Excellent. Because we're going to need to hear the whole range to really appreciate this. It's a thing of beauty. You ready?
I am as ready as I'll ever be.
This is Monte Cristo, and today we're going to take a look at a strategic breakdown of the latest match between the Los Angeles Gladiators and the Seoul Dynasty. Right off the bat, we're going to get a couple of environmental kills. But
I hear it. I feel like I've heard this one before.
It's like honey dripping into your ears, all of the treble and the bass working together in perfect harmony.
Oh, it's a thing of beauty.
It's like an ancient Norse deity decided to open his mouth and... You just don't appreciate art.
That's it. That is definitely it.
Shamelessly original, the Toyota CHR. Toyota, let's go places.
Welcome back, everyone. It will be the Gladiators walking home with the W tonight. So congratulations to Fisher and the whole team. Now let's talk a little bit about you and your team. And I'm gonna be very straight up here. Do you think it's a weakness that so many strats and compositions and basically everything your team does revolves around you?
Okay, I understand. Okay. 확실히 제가 플레이하면서 대부분의 팀들이 모든 팀이 그렇진 않지만 대부분의 팀들이 저를 약간 포커싱하는 게 제가 최근에 대회하면서 좀 많이 느껴가지고 그것 때문에 조금 힘들긴 한데 그것조차 극복해야 최고의 탱커가 될 수 있다고 생각합니다.
I most definitely do feel that, I'm not going to say all the team, but most of the teams when we play matches do focus a lot on me as a tank player. Now, but with that, I feel like in order to become a great tank player, I have to overcome that and to lead my team.
All right, so there's a lot of pressure from the enemies. What kind of mental pressure is on you if you know you're that integral and that important to your team?
부담감은 조금 없지 않아 있긴 한데 근데 사실 저 혼자 하는 게임도 아니고 제가 죽더라도 저를 이제 계속 케어해주고 잘한다고 해줄 감독님, 코치님 그리고 같이 할 선수들이 있기 때문에 걱정하지 않습니다.
I don't worry too much, but I'm not going to say that there's not a lot of pressure. There is a certain pressure that I have to go through, but there's always the coaches and the staff that I can rely on, so I have all the support that I need.
That's wonderful to hear. And you know what? Who's better than Fisher? No one. No one. Absolutely no one. Thank you so much for joining me, Fisher. We're now heading back to the desk to break down the action.
I think everyone knew. You know, everyone's like, yeah, no, who better than Fisher?
They sang it.
That's right. That's right. A lot of pressure on Fisher, but for due reason. The guy is just a standout performer for the Los Angeles Gladiators as they get the W, and they take it 3-1. It's our post-game coverage now, and might as well just jump right into the highlights here for Li Jiang and Dorado. A couple things to break down, and still this was a very intense matchup in Philly. They had opportunities.
A lot of it was honestly just Shadowburn on the Pharah, and we know that he's a fantastic Genji, but most importantly, a fantastic Pharah player.
Yeah.
And he came in so clutch at times. But in the end, he's going up with hydration, right? This boop was sick.
Oh,
so good. Creme de la creme, Golden Boy.
The amuse-bouche, as Josh says.
Exactly. So in the end, I mean, he's playing versus Hydration, and Hydration, we talk about him as potentially a top 3 Pharah in the league himself. So it was a sick Pharah duel in many ways in this Li Jiang Tower map.
I mean, the Pharahs are obviously what a lot of these control maps are focused around, but then you get to the control center, that one map in these control maps that always has a different flavor to it. And, well, the Gladiators' flexibility, I think, proved to be superior here. But when we move to Dorado, this is where things, as Mitch was saying, we're getting wild. Because Carpe, well, he got to know what it's like to feel like Saya player for a little bit, because he was doing so damn much to try to win this game, but it just was not enough. It felt to me like Philadelphia, watching this game, all four, their biggest issue happened to be around the ultimate timings. It felt like a lot of these ultimates that they went for just had no inherent value to themselves. They were a lot of times layered, and that's not the way to be a team that is trying to make a run for playoffs. And you can't expect this kind of communication gap happening. Again, this is a team that these guys had not practiced before. This is not the lineup that we should have expected from Philly.
I want to give a lot of praise to Fisher as well, actually, for closing out this game, because Carpe was on a hot streak for a long while on that Widowmaker. Yeah. And it seemed like it would end at point B and we'd go to map 5, but Fisher, he got that final kill onto Carpe, and then they forced the Philadelphia support ultimate. So ultimately getting that pick, and then later on zoning out Carpe on point C, ultimately won the Gladiators the game on Dorado.
He quickly realized he had to kill Carpe or else they were going to lose.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure.
I mean,
Turfwar was in a pretty poor position for a long time. So, you know, when Carpe is on a hot streak, you got to shut him down. And
I mean, that shot on the church made no sense. I still look back on it. We did not see Surefour, yet he was shot by Carpe.
It just, hey man, sometimes, you know, your eyes just deceive you. You know, old age, it's okay. That's why you're here on a desk. You know?
That is why I'm here. I'm actually too old. That is why I quit gaming.
Why do you think I wear glasses?
Sight, that is exactly why.
Why do you think I wear glasses? I look at the games, I'm like, what are you doing?
Why am I here? I'm 22.
Johnny, we're not going to get into that right now.
Why are
you know what? There's always World Cup. There's always World Cup, baby. All right, so now we got to go to our player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP, and it's going to be Shaz. So this is interesting.
Yeah.
Because you were very...
So I love this.
You were very passionate about this decision.
Because,
why?
First of all, I think that this Horizon map was very clutch out of him being able to play the Tracer.
Yeah,
you have seen his Tracer stats, and he's actually not even close to the bottom of the table. He's a very respectable, serviceable Tracer. But what I really liked about Shaz specifically was a lot of the times the orbs of Discord were used very wisely, and you could see in the kill feed a lot of times it's assisting the targets that need to be hit. The Pharah specifically was a huge thing. Pharah v Pharah matchup is really hard, but when you have Discord orbs well placed, when the Transcendences are there to deal with the barrage and the blade from Shadowburn, Shaz comes in clutch.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is why Shaz is your player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP. Yeah, and you know, for due reason, you defended your point well, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what's important. What was going on back there? No?
It's a little wooing.
Young man, the dab is dead. Okay, I will let you know, sir.
What?
I will let you know. You need to stop it with the dances.
Keep it up. Keep going.
You know what? Hey, you know what? I'm okay with the dancing because that just means this generation's going out there and exercising. Goodness gracious, I sound old. It's like it didn't even dawn on me. My wife's gonna text me saying, she's gonna say, Alex, that's it. Time to retire. You're talking about video games and you're an old man. This is a wrap. Okay, so with the Gladiators win, they solidify their place in the top 4 for stage 4. As we look at the stage standings, Philly needed that W to move up, but they'll be held back for now and fall to 7.
Taking losses to Dallas Fuel and New York and now the Gladiators. It's going to be rough for the Philadelphia Fusion to get back into the stage playoffs, if they can do it at all. Meanwhile, we're looking at the Gladiators solidifying their slot with Valiant and Excelsior. So the question is it the Shock, the Fuel, or the Spitfire making the stage playoffs alongside them?
I would love to see Shock or Fuel make it to that point. But you know what? Let's go over to the league standings, though, because after a full day of riveting Overwatch with lots of playoff implications on the line, here are your stage standings. London moves back into the number 2 slot overall. Boston moves down to number 4. The Gladiators actually jump over Seoul in the Pacific Division standings and right on the tail of the crosstown rivals, the Valiant, who still have that coveted 1 seed.
And look at the map differential here for the Philadelphia Fusion. Plus 11. They have the lowest map differential of all 8 teams still in the running for the season standing. So you gotta keep it up. You gotta start building on that map differential if you want to make it.
That's right. And tomorrow we've got another awesome day of Overwatch ahead of us. We have the Houston Outlaws against the Shanghai Dragons, and then the Florida Mayhem take on the Seoul Dynasty, and then finally the Boston Uprising against the San Francisco Shock. Any thoughts on those games?
Yeah, you know, while the teams aren't necessarily the biggest blockbusters, the fact that there's such a high implications on this, I think, is the indication that this game is going to be that. Like the Shanghai game, Shanghai can be a big spoiler. They will need to try every single match. Even Florida can give this team, the Seoul team, a run for their money. So I think it's good games tomorrow.
That's right. Some good matches tomorrow that you don't want to miss. Now, if you happen to have the Twitch All Access Pass, you can go ahead and switch on over to the Command Center right now because we have a Q&A with the Gladiators Flex Tank, Bishu. So ask him about what shampoo he uses. I'm actually pretty curious. And also if he rinses and repeats. Because, see, I don't have hair, so I need these tips. This is very important stuff if I could try and grow some.
Rogaine? Not...
I'm going to try and use my, you know what? Yes, there's a lot of things that are being revealed about me right now, and it's actually a little personal. So I think on that note, we're going to go ahead and close it out for the day. Thank you so much for watching. Y'all beautiful at home and here in the Blizzard Arena. We'll catch you tomorrow. Plenty more beautiful Overwatch coming at you.
Pass into the iris.